Have you ever made a crochet blanket only to find that it doesn't look even from start to finish? You may have thought it was a tension issue or missed stitches, but the truth is it probably had more to do with your starting chain. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 simple tweaks that will make a huge difference to the overall look of your blanket and eliminate a lot of frustration. The chain is the smallest stitch in crochet, so it will be tighter than the rest of the project. And then when you fill it with stitches, the fabric that you're making will in turn widen even more. So this is a natural occurrence, you're not doing anything wrong, but to counteract this, we just need to make that chain a little bit wider to help balance that out. So let's begin with the easiest and best fix, which is to start your foundation chain with a larger hook size. For these samples here, I am working with a 4mm hook, so I'm going up to a 5mm to start my chain. I found that 1 hook size larger is ideal. If you go bigger than this, you could find that the starting chain gets more loose, so experiment with this and see what size works best for you. Once you've completed your chain, return to your original hook size for the rest of your pattern. If you don't have a larger hook, you can still make this work by consciously making your starting chain a little looser as you make it. A good rule of thumb is to make sure that you're creating your chain further down on the shaft of your hook and not near the throat. This is particularly important if you're working with a tapered hook. This will really help to keep those stitches wider, but you still want to work a little bit more loosely than you normally would. This is where an inline hook comes in really handy to keep those chains wider. But overall, the simplest way to assure a nice consistent chain is to go up 1 hook size and call it a day. For tweak number 2, I recommend placing your first row of stitches into the back bump of your starting chain. Now this alone isn't going to straighten your blanket, but it is going to improve the appearance of the bottom edge as well as give it a similar appearance to your top edge. Now it can sometimes be hard to place those stitches into the back bump, but if you use the larger hook for the starting chain, just like we did for the first segment, it's a piece of cake. So create your chain with a hook that is 1 size larger and then return to the original hook for your first row of stitches. Again, I'm working with a 5mm for my chain and then going down to 4mm for my stitch. To work into the back bump, you're going to count them just as you would if you were working in the front. For example, if you're working single crochets, you'll work into the second bump from the hook, just like you would start in the second chain from the hook. Then work in each bump across, including the one right next to the slip knot. Because you started with that larger hook, it's so much easier to get into those back bumps, and you're getting that beautiful straight edge for that first row. For tweak number 3, try a chainless foundation. The beauty of this is that you can use it for any of the basic stitches from single crochets all the way up to trebles. And I do have a video showing step by step how to do each one. Now this may seem difficult at first, but the main tip to remember here is that you're making the chain and the stitch at the same time. So even though it's called a chainless foundation, that's not exactly true. With this technique, you're completing the chain and the first row at the same time. This is great because it gives a beautiful straight edge and isn't tight like a standard chain, which makes it ideal for projects like beanies and hats. This also eliminates the stress of counting errors that can easily be made with that initial chain. Be sure to check out the video on the chainless foundation. I do have tips in there that makes it super easy, and I think once you get the hang of it, I think you're really going to like that option. The main takeaway that I want you to leave with is how important that initial chain is to the appearance of your entire project. The best way to fix this is to get used to starting with that larger hook, and then the rest of this will fall into place. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like is always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.